I've been working pretty consistent, actually very consistently from job to job to job. I've done 4 shows over the past year, show to show to show to show. And I pretty much always knew, I would say in the last couple weeks of the show, that another show was coming. Um since August of 2023. So about a year. And as some of you know, Josh and I wrapped up a show. It's been a little over a week, a little over, about almost 2 weeks now since we, well, a little week and a half really, since we wrapped our show. And now I have nothing on the horizon. And it's making me think about the in between times. And the in between times is scary. I haven't been here in a minute. It's scary for a few reasons. I think it's scary because number one, you don't know what's next. Obviously, that's terrifying. Um, you don't know what's next on the horizon. Um, Number two, listen, I do find personally, I, you know, I'm a little less hungry than I was a year ago. And by that, I mean, you know, because I had jobs lined up, because I was creatively fulfilled doing this work, doing the plays I was in, I'm a little complacent at this point, and it's hard to go back to do the stuff that I was doing before. Well, I shouldn't have to do this stuff. I was just working. I shouldn't have to go do X, Y, and Z or consider this, that, and the third. Um, and of course, financial insecurity is a huge part of it. Not having that paycheck anymore. That's unfortunate, and really, truly, not knowing how the next job is coming and what the next job is. I've never felt this more so than right now, and I think it's because I was, going for almost a year. But let me also talk about the benefits of the downtime in between shows, or the downtime in general. It's when you're doing a show or you're a film or whatever, you know, your time is not yours. Your time really is not yours at the end of the day because you're working for somebody else, right? And you still have an obligation. You still have to show up, and you're doing what you love ultimately, but your time is not yours, and it's hard to stay hungry during those times and build up for the next thing. It's very challenging to do that. Um, I find it. But going back to the time not being yours, have rehearsal schedules, then, you have to commit to doing a play. We all know what it's like to do a play, especially, or, even a day on set, which I was also in a film, over this time too. It's like, it's exhausting. To me, it's exhausting, especially a play, to like really emotionally invest and go up there and be vulnerable and let go of control and do that for 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes a night, depending on what show it was. I mean, it's exhausting. And it's hard to allow space for other things, and, whether we like it or not, for me personally, I'm not prepping all day when I'm doing a show or something like that. But, an hour before I'm, the show starts, I'm getting into the zone. And then, like, when the show's over, I'm zonked out. I don't want to do anything. So you really lose your time, And so when you're in an in between moment, now your time is yours. You get to decide what to do with it. You get to decide how that time is spent, and, making sure that you're doing the things that you want to do. That's probably the biggest plus. And on top of that, it's hard to build routines when you're in the middle of the line of fire, or when you're in the middle of the storm, when you're in a show or in the middle of a creative process. It's hard to build routines, um, because, like I said, it doesn't feel like you're as in much control of your time. But that's exactly what we need to be doing during these in between times. I would argue is the single most important thing one can be doing when they are not, quote, working, on a gig, is to make sure you have the routines that, allow for success when you are working.